Ecodesign, better known as life cycle design, is a design approach that takes into account the entire life cycle of a product and its functional unit. Its goal is to reduce the overall environmental impact of a product, meaning the sum of the impacts generated at each stage of its life cycle. In this lesson, we will look at the tools that help designers effectively manage complexity in the life cycle design process. In fact, there are methods, meaning specific design processes, and related support tools that we can use in the different design phases. During the initial phase of strategic analysis and project brief definition, it is essential to assess the environmental impact of an existing product similar to the one we are going to design in order to understand where it is most important to intervene to reduce the environmental impact. In the concept generation phase, it is useful to generate various ideas with lower environmental impact in order to arrive at one or more concepts. On these concepts, it is then possible to assess the potential for reducing impact compared to the original product. In the subsequent product development phases, we can carry out further evaluations on the impact of specific materials or production processes, choosing those with the lowest environmental impact. It may be possible that given equal performance, two materials have different impacts. Is ABS or polypropylene better? Steel or aluminum? Finally, at the end of the project, it is important to assess the actual improvement of the product compared to the original version. To support life cycle design processes, several tools have been developed which we can divide into three categories. The first includes tools for evaluating the environmental impact, which can be either quantitative or qualitative. These tools are useful during the phases of defining the brief, developing and analyzing the concept, and evaluating the product at the end of its development. The second category includes tools that orient the generation of environmentally sustainable ideas. These tools support the designer during the concept development phases. Meanwhile, the third category is represented by toolkits. These toolkits support both the evaluation of the environmental impact and the orientation of the idea generation. Therefore, toolkits provide cross-cutting support to the designer throughout all design phases. The use of these tools is most effective when applied in the early stages of the project. It is at this point that the designer can define the brief and generate concepts with low environmental impact. At this stage, we have greater freedom and more opportunities for innovation. The closer the project gets to the production phase, the more every design change is constrained by decisions already made, resulting in increased complexity, less freedom for innovation, and higher costs. Let's look at some examples of tools for each category and their pros and cons. Let's start with multi-impact quantitative evaluation tools. These are able to quantify all the environmental impacts of a product, such as climate change, resource consumption, acidification, eutrophication, toxicity, and other parameters. The most widely used and scientifically reliable method is life cycle assessment, or LCA, which measures the environmental impact of the product at every stage of its life cycle. Among the most widely used LCA tools is OpenLCA, a free and open source tool. Meanwhile, among the most commonly used paid tools are Sphera and SEMA Pro. The main advantage of these tools lies in their reliability, while the disadvantage is their relative complexity of use. There are also single-impact quantitative evaluation tools, which measure a single environmental impact indicator, such as the carbon footprint or the water footprint. An example is Ecodesign, a free plugin for Autodesk Fusion that allows you to estimate the carbon footprint of a product's components directly during the 3D modeling phase. Another free tool is IDEMAT Lite LCA, developed by TU Delft for measuring the carbon footprint, which is complemented by an economic indicator called EcoCost. Compared to multi-impact tools, single-impact evaluation tools provide only a partial view of the environmental impact and are therefore less suitable during the product design phase.
And what do we do when we don't have the time, resources, expertise, or data to carry out an LCA? The solution can be to use qualitative environmental impact evaluation tools. Often, these tools consist of checklists with questions to evaluate the impact of a product at each stage of its life cycle or to assess the extent to which eco-design strategies are being pursued. One example among many is the Ecodesign assessment, developed under the coordination of the German Environment Agency and with the support of the European Union. The advantage of these tools lies in their simplicity, speed, and accessibility, with the drawback of lower scientific reliability. Now let's look at the tools that orient the generation of environmentally sustainable ideas. There are many of these tools available for free online. Some are dedicated to a specific sustainability strategy, while others have a broader scope. A good example developed by the Colding School of Design are the Sustainable Design Cards, which provide suggestions, examples, and resources on various aspects of sustainability, such as design for disassembly, material selection, design for longevity, and so on. To conclude, there are also orientation and evaluation toolkits, which allow for both qualitative evaluations of environmental impact and orientation in generating sustainable ideas. In this case as well, some tools focus on specific strategies. Others instead work on the overall life cycle design. An interesting example is the Catch-E project, developed by a network of agencies and associations with support from the European Union. The Catch-E kit allows you to define the priorities of circularity strategies and assess their implementation in a reference product, highlighting areas for improvement and providing simple suggestions to enhance the product. Politecnico di Milano has also developed a set of orientation and evaluation tools, the ICS Toolkit, which stands for Ideation of Sustainable Concepts. This toolkit encompasses all the design strategies aimed at reducing environmental impact. In conclusion, support tools for life cycle design are essential for designing in an informed and environmentally conscious way. Designers have access to a wide range of tools that are freely available online. These tools can be grouped into three types: impact evaluation tools, idea generation orientation tools, and combined evaluation and orientation toolkits. Each type has a different role and may be more or less suitable depending on the design phase we are in and the objectives of the project. The selection of tools should be made based on the context and the availability of time, resources, and data. To learn more about these aspects, you can visit the lenslab.polimi.it website, where you can find further information on various methods and tools for eco-design.